Welcome to the Stop Overdrinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 245, Stopping Overdrinking and Overeating on Vacation. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I am freshly back from a little vacation that I took by myself. I actually went up and stayed with Coach Steph. Coach Steph has been on the podcast before. She was a former client, now turned part-time coach who works for me inside my Stop Overdrinking and Start Living programs. And we are all the things now. Client, coach, boss, employee, friend, and we have a lot of fun together. And I went up to stay with her in her beach place in the Jersey Shore, Long Beach Island. And it was absolutely fantastic. And I was sharing this with my group, my Alive AF group. But we all have to take time for ourselves. I think we all can agree now that that's important. And it's a part of, living an Alive AF life is paying attention to yourself and giving yourself time away from things and breaks from regular day-to-day stressors. It's very, very important. So I knew that I was going to need a break late spring, early summer when I was about to embark on our big, long family road trip. So if this is the first time you're listening to this podcast, I and my husband took our 3 kids and we drove across the country from North Carolina to the San Francisco Bay Area of California. And we took a week to drive out there and a week to drive home. And we spent a month in California where we used to live in Alameda. And so it was a full-on family immersion for 6 weeks. And, normally that's not our regular day-to-day life, right? Like all 3 of our kids are in school. And then if it's summertime, usually they're in camps and all the things. But we wanted to do sort of a family immersion this summer. And that's what we did. We drove across the country. We stopped and saw all the things. I did a couple podcast episodes about it. We stopped in Vegas. We went to the Grand Canyon. It was awesome. And then on the way home, we did Bryce Canyon and Boulder, Colorado. And then we did a bunch of fun things while we were in the Bay Area. I digress, but I knew that because of that immersion with everybody all at once, every day, that I would need a break at the end of the summer. So once the kids got back in school, I planned to go on this trip to, have some beach time with Coach Steph. And I was very, very thankful for myself for planning that. And, I thanked my past self for having the foresight to know what I would need, for my mental health, my well-being, to reset as we approach a new season with fall. And, once the kids are back in school and routines are set, it's, I felt comfortable, taking a few days off away from the family to do that. And it was amazing. It was so, so good. I get a lot of questions about doing this work while on vacation. And I don't know if you know this or not. I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast, but I am doing a mini high-touch coaching program that includes an in-person retreat to Cancun, Mexico in December of this year, the first week in December. I'm enrolling for it right now. If you want some high-touch coaching with private calls with me and with the group of people that you would be coming with to Mexico. There's only 9 women that they only have 9 spots available, and there's 5 spots left. You should check out angelamascenik.com/Cancun Retreat 2023. We will link that up into the show notes. But this is a big obstacle for a lot of people, is not overdrinking and overeating on vacations. Because if you are somebody who overdrinks and often overeats, they go hand in hand often. That's the way it was with me. When you go on vacation, usually what I see and what it was like for myself is that we're constantly like in a diet cycle, right? So to give you a little bit more history about me, if you don't know, I was on a diet I was put on a diet by my family when I was 8 years old, and that started my whole toxic dieting, lifestyle. So on again, off again with diets and trying to lose weight, having kids, trying to lose weight. It was always something I was working on. And so when you go on vacation as an adult, you may be looking forward to giving yourself a break from trying to diet or trying to cut back on alcohol, because if you're doing it the way that you always do it, it's very restrictive, right? So you look forward to a time where you're not thinking about it, you're not worrying about it, you're not planning, you're not restricting, all of that stuff. And so sometimes when you go on a vacation or come the weekend or social situations, it's like, give it all to me, right? All the drinks, all the food, all the time. I don't want to think about this. I just want to let it all go. And then you release all of that, and then you completely overindulge. And by the time that vacation is over, that weekend over, you start the restriction again because you feel like ass, right? You're puffy, you're bloated, you're not sleeping well, heartburn, indigestion, all the things, right? And you know that you're just like, I got to get back on track. I got to get back on track. So people who are actively working on, if they're my client, or you're trying a different approach to cutting back on your alcohol, and you have a vacation coming up, I just want to give you some advice on how to do this that doesn't feel restrictive and like you're missing out. And really my approach, and share a little bit about what I did when I was visiting with Coach Steph up in New Jersey, because I had one of the best vacations ever because I did the work when I was still there. And I just want you to know that it will enhance your vacation if you decide to stick with your routines and taking care of yourself more than taking a break from some of the healthier things that you're doing right now, to not drink so much or not to eat so much. So inside my Alive AF coaching program, my monthly membership, there's a worksheet. It's called the Daily Planning and Evaluation Worksheet, where I encourage everybody to fill out this worksheet every day to plan what they're going to eat, what they're drinking, how they're going to feel alive today, writing down their goals, writing out intentional thoughts about it, and a few other things. And we do that in the morning. And then at the end of the day, or in the next morning, we do an evaluation, or basically a reflection exercise on, did you stick to your plan? If not, what happened? What can you learn from it? If you did, how did you do that so you can reinforce positive behavior? And I decided to do a little experiment, and I decided to do my own worksheets for 1 month consistently. So I made my own worksheets, and I took them with me to my vacation with Coach Steph, and I did them every single day, every single morning. When I woke up, I did my regular morning routine just like I do at home. I got up, in quiet and solitude with my coffee, did my planning, did my journaling, all of that. And then, we went on with our day. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, Coach Steph, we got to do our evaluations. And she was doing it with me. But I will tell you that I was so much more present on this trip. I felt so good. I got all of my steps in. I'm trying to hit 10,000 steps a day. I saw sunrises on the beach every morning. I ate some food that I really wanted to eat. Like, we went out to this new burger place, and we had burgers and fries, and I ate that. That was very intentional. We had dessert. We did some cooking too. So so right now for me, I focus on feeling alive, right? That is like my main focus, is feeling good and feeling alive. And so when I apply that intention to food or alcohol, I don't drink anymore, so I'm not planning drinks or anything, but I still apply it to what I eat, and I want to be very intentional with that, because food does affect how you feel. It can also, if you overeat, it can trigger people to think shitty thoughts about themselves, especially if you've been somebody who has dieted your whole life. That's kind of traumatizing when we do restrictions and then overeat at times. So when I eat well and I follow my plan and I'm intentional, and I eat foods that make me feel good, my mental health is so much better, right? And then if I do want to plan things like having a cheeseburger or pizza or something, as long as I'm intentional and it's planned, I slow down. I really enjoy it. I get so much pleasure out of it. And there's absolutely no guilt because I have chosen to eat that way for that meal, right, in advance. Whereas if you just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to, I'm not going to do any of this work while I'm on vacation and I'm just going to eat and drink whatever I want, you're not actually really enjoying that, right? Like if you really think about if you've been on a trip or a weekend or something like that, and you're not planning what you want to do, especially if you've started some work like I teach in my programs, right? You're trying to be intentional and then you decide not to do it to give yourself that break, and then you drink or you eat something that's not intentional, you're feeling guilty about it in some ways. You may have some negative thoughts about yourself, right? And so that steals the experience that you could have had, right? And makes it less satisfying than it could have been if you are super intentional and it was something that you thought about in advance, okay? So then what happens if you're not intentional and you end up drinking and eating all the things and you're just like, oh, fuck it, like the weekend's already ruined, the vacation's already here, I might as well just go for it and I'll start again when I come back. You end up overdoing it even more to try to escape those negative feelings that you have about yourself doing it in the first place, right? So if the next time you're in this type of situation, I want you to be really aware, especially if you're eating or drinking something unplanned, what you're thinking about that, okay? Notice any small whisper of, you really shouldn't be doing this, or you didn't plan for this, right? That will be there and it will steal away from the pleasure that you could have had if it was intentional and you just show up and enjoy what you're having in that moment and slow down and be aware and in tune to the experience of it, okay? So backing up to me taking the worksheets to this trip, I wanted to continue doing that. First of all, before I went on the trip, I had several weeks of doing this work in advance. So I was already feeling really, really good. And my worksheet is amazing. Got to pat myself on the back. I've done other coaching programs in the past. And up until this point, I was just doing everything in my journal. So I would like write out what I was eating and, just kind of doing little thought downloads and stuff. But I really wanted to give myself an opportunity to be a client in my own program and see what it was kind of like a little experiment. Like, what is it like to do the work that I've created inside my own program? And I tell you what, like that worksheet, doing it today is day 20 of doing it. It's been really, really good to be intentional and to check in with myself and to show up for myself and give myself that extra time, even while I'm on vacation. So you deserve to take care of yourself even while you're on vacation. Taking care of yourself is not releasing yourself from all of the rules that you have around food and alcohol and just like going off and eating like an asshole and drinking like an asshole. That's not treating yourself well. If you need a break, if you need a retreat from your life, let's look at other ways that we can do that and not decide we're just going to eat and drink all the things, because that actually isn't helping you feel good. It's not solving the problem in what you need. What you need is to relax. What you need is to get away from your day-to-day lives and responsibilities or work or whatever it is. Like ask yourself, what is it that I really need on the weekends? What is it that I'm hoping to get out of this vacation? And I promise you the answer won't be to eat and drink all the things. Okay, that's not really what you want. And if you stay intentional with your food and alcohol on vacation, you're going to have to work through some uncomfortableness, right? Your old habits are going to come in and it's going to be like, oh, it's always about the food and the alcohol and I want to let myself be free from all of that. And that's just plan for it. Just plan to have whatever you want and check in with yourself before you have it. Make sure it is actually what you want. Slow down, be intentional with it. Listen to your body cues. If you've had enough, stop eating, right? All of the things you still want to do on your trip or while you're traveling. When we decide to kind of go numb and to check out with that, that's where we can get into trouble. And I know some of you guys want to have a break from thinking about this stuff all the time, but I promise you're going to be thinking about it anyway, especially if you're overdoing it, because you're not going to be happy with yourself or you're not going to feel good. So that's going to trigger your mind to think about it even more. So I want you to start thinking that if I do this on my trip, or on the weekend or in this social situation, it's going to help me have a better experience. Because the truth is, over drinking or overeating in those types of situations actually doesn't make your experience better. And I think you know that, right? The reason why we overdrink or overeat in those situations is because we're really trying to numb down and void out what we're thinking about ourselves, right? We're trying to escape in some way. And even though you might think, well, I just do it because I have fun. Okay, well, if you didn't have the alcohol or the extra food, would that event be fun? And the answer is probably no, because it's how you're thinking about that situation, okay? Remember, your thoughts are what creates the experience. Food and alcohol doesn't create a better experience for you. Your thoughts about that experience are what creates a positive or a negative experience for you, okay? So just start to get aware of that and be open to thinking that doing this work on a vacation or a weekend is going to help you have more fun. It's not going to take anything away from you. Over drinking and overeating on vacation steals your opportunity to be in the moment with the fun thing that you're doing, for the relaxation that you're there for the social connections that you want to have in that moment. Okay? Because it's a distraction. Because once you start over drinking and overeating, you're going to be mad at yourself, and then your mind is going to be distracted with that instead of focusing on the amazing thing that's right in front of you on that vacation. Okay? And if you can trust me on this and try this on your next vacation or getaway and notice the difference. Now, I'm not telling, like when I went out for burgers and fries with Coach Chef, those fries were damn good. I did not want to stop eating them. So like in the moment, like I was having a very strong desire to eat more fries, but my body was saying I had enough, like I was feeling full, but my brain was like, oh, more. When are you going to get French fries again? You should just take these home with you. And, Coach Chef and I had sort of like a food plan for the week. We had food that we bought at the store. We were looking forward to trying some new recipes. And we knew that we probably wouldn't want to eat those fries anymore. And like Coach Chef says something really compelling. She's like, that like warmed up French fries aren't that good, that they're only good fresh and hot. And I was like, wah, it was uncomfortable for like a minute. Okay. But I was willing to and I even told her in that moment, I'm noticing my desire for these French fries. I'm naming how I'm feeling. I'm taking a breath and I'm processing it. That's all you have to do. If you're in a live AF, you know the stop, notice, and process, the SNP, right? And that's all you do. It's a little uncomfortable for a second, but guess what would have been more uncomfortable? Is if I would have kept eating those fries, gotten myself so full and bloated that I would need to like go lay down or something, and I would feel heavy and puffy, and then I would have woken up the next day regretting that, right? Not trusting myself, and like it would have stolen my amazing experience that I could have had that day doing something completely different. So you have to be willing to feel uncomfortable, okay? But just remember that discomfort that you feel in that moment when you tell yourself, I've had enough, or I'm not going to drink in this situation, is just a very, very small drop to pay for the consistency of feeling good every single day on vacation, okay? It's not always just like, oh, it's all perfect and great. Like, there are some times where I had to work through it. There was one day that Coach Steph mentioned she wanted to have some ice cream. And then I was like, oh, I want some ice cream. And then I reflected on how many desserts have I had on this trip? And I had already had 2 desserts that I really loved. And I was like, in my mind, this is how I worked out. I'm like, I'm not somebody who normally eats dessert more than once a week. And, I think I'm okay not having dessert right now. Is it a little uncomfortable? Yes. It's not restrictive. It's very intentional. I think about what makes me feel good, and eating a lot of sugar doesn't make me feel good. And if I eat more, than like 1 or 2 days of dessert, then my body starts to feel inflamed and my joints start to ache. And I know that about myself. So I decided not to have dessert. Was it a little uncomfortable? Yeah. But so is having inflamed joints. You know what I mean? So you're just choosing one little bit of discomfort in that moment for feeling more comfortable more consistently over a longer period of time. And then you have so much less of a mental load on working through that if you stick to what you really want and being intentional versus overeating and overdrinking. And then you just have all that nonsense going on in your brain after the fact. And if you want to be on vacation, that's the best way to be on vacation, is to just not have that going on in your mind. And the best way to do that is to be intentional. So there's absolutely no downside to this. Okay? Like it for me, it doesn't feel restrictive at all. It feels very loving, and like I have my own back on being intentional about what I want to put in my body, how I want to spend my time, how I want to feel alive on a day-to-day basis. And I highly encourage you all to do this while you go on vacation. If you're not in a live AF, you should join. It's open right now to join. It's angelamascenik.com/aliveaf. We are doing this worksheet challenge together right now. So you can jump in right now and join us for the rest of the month and then continue doing it on your own. But if you're not in a live AF and you have a trip coming up, just bring a small journal with you and write out what you're going to have to eat and to drink every day. Do a little journaling in the morning about how you want to feel, what you want to experience that day, what your goals are. And then at the end of the day, come back and reflect on that and track what happened for you and what you experienced and any tweaks that you want to make for the next day. Okay. And it's time well spent. That's maybe 5-10 minutes in the morning, 5-10 minutes in the evening, and it will save you from a lot of unnecessary overeating and overdrinking and an emotional load that comes with that. Okay. So those are my tips on stopping overdrinking and overeating while on vacation. It's all about being intentional, being mindful about how you want to feel and what you want to experience, and setting those intentions at the beginning of your day and even at the beginning of your trip. And I will continue doing that, forever. Like I always have a great time on vacation because I'm sometimes even more intentional on vacation than I am at home, because when I'm at home, you get distracted more with the kids and the house and the pets and the work and all the things that are going on, right? All the different things that you have to keep track of. I find sometimes it's easier to do it on vacation than it is at home because you're not distracted as much, and you can be more intentional about making sure that gets done. And it'll help you, kind of create a little routine for yourself and establish some good patterns if you do it on vacation that you can bring home and keep going with those patterns. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to tell you about that. And then I really want you to consider coming to Cancun with me and getting that 4-month coaching package, which includes private calls with me, group calls with the people going on the retreat. You get access to a Live AF, my monthly coaching program, for free during that time. And it's just a very lovely support in which I'm going to help you work through a lot of this stuff. And then while we're together in December in Cancun, I'm going to help you in real time work through urges or desires or cravings when you're being offered all the drinks and all of the food. The resort is an all-inclusive, adults-only luxury resort. It's absolutely beautiful. It's beachfront, beautiful pools, amazing food. I was there in January. I can't wait to go back. We're going to do a lot of fun things: beach sunrises, yoga, walks, coaching, floating in the pool, lots of downtime. We have a spa day or appointment. We're doing one excursion. It's not going to be jam-packed, full of activity after activity after activity. There's going to be a lot of spaciousness. We'll have meals together, lots of coaching, connection, and in real-time support to work through some of this stuff in person. So I cannot wait to go. If you'd like to jump on a call to talk to me about this opportunity, I'd be more than happy to do that, to answer your questions. But if you want to check it out, go to angelamascenik.com/Cancun Retreat 2023 and get all the details about what it includes. And it's going to be amazing. So if this is something that you've struggled with while traveling on vacation and you want my support, I would absolutely love to help you. And by investing into this, you will be set up for the rest of your life on gaining skills on how to navigate travel, social situations, and vacations without over drinking. And I'll give you all the coaching and the support you need to get yourself in a confident place that you'll be successful during that trip. So you don't need to worry if you feel like you're not quite there yet, or if you don't think you can do that. The coaching that you're going to get beforehand from me is going to be pretty profound and make you feel confident that you can do it. All right, my friends, I love you and I believe in you, and I will talk to you next week. Bye. Hey, it's Angela. I want you to check out angelamascenik.com/aliveaf. You know what it's like to have a desire to cut back on your drinking, right? You start to read books, listen to podcasts, try things, but you might not be able to yet put all the pieces and suggestions together in a way that actually makes sense and works for you. You might struggle with beating yourself up after an overdrink. You might get frustrated with yourself when you take 2 steps forward and then another 2 steps back, and get overwhelmed with what's right and wrong about your relationship with alcohol. Your friends tell you that you should be able to have just 1 drink, and it isn't a big deal. You might be white-knuckling through urges and resisting instead of peacefully processing them. And you might struggle with your identity as someone who has enjoyed having a lot of wine or alcohol in your life. It's around you all of the time. It's what you do and who you are. Well, after 5 years of successfully coaching hundreds of women through these struggles, I have created the Alive AF membership, where women like you can learn the basics on what it takes to cut back and reach your goals with alcohol, whether it is to just drink less or totally quit. And when you join, you will get the exact framework I used to change my own relationship with alcohol and still use today, that has led me to be alcohol-free for over 5 years. You're going to get access to my resources, videos, and worksheets that have been proven to change and reduce how much you drink. Every day you can ask questions, share your obstacles, and get coaching and direct support on the challenges you will face with love and no judgment. Also, you will get immediate access to workshops like uncovering your alcohol identity and changing it, how to say no to things that don't support your new identity or life or goals, aka boundaries. A workshop called Creating Emotional Agency, and another one, How to Manage Your Mind to Succeed at Your Goals, and more. Every month we have a brand new workshop. These workshops are filled with step-by-step prompts and instruction to help you create the exact relationship with alcohol that is best for you. My mission and vision for Alive AF is to be a hub of support and resources for women to come and learn how to do what is best for them and becoming more alive in the process. When you join, you're going to learn how to take care of yourself better, how to feel good and become more alive and go after the life that you really want. I want this membership to be affordable and an easy solution where you can get all the help you need in one simple place whenever you need it. So, no need to go read another book, find a new podcast, attend a free webinar, or go down the path of piecemealing it all together. Join Alive AF and have it all there in one place for you anytime you need it. So, go to angelamascenik.com/aliveaf, and enrollment is open right now. See you inside.